Khalis, and all of those who came before us and did excellent deeds in the sight of God. Ameen. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is reported to have said at the sermon at the Tabuk campaign, the one who forgives others is forgiven by Allah. The best provision is the provision of taqwa, the fear of God. Abusing a believer is sinful. Real richness is the richness of the heart. And fighting a believer is a sign of disbelief. That which is approaching is very near. Yes, believers, good, bad, or indifferent, that which is approaching is very near. Alhamdulillah. The believers, honorable indeed are we all, says Allah in His wonderful revelation to all of humanity. Al-Kitab al-Haq, the true book. Allah has revealed therein that it is He who has created all of the sons and the daughters, the women of Father Prophet Adam and Abraham alayhi salam, honorable. It is keeping with that excellence that I extend to you once again our international salutation of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Allah says in Quran, Surah number 3, Ali Imran, the family of Moses, the father of Moses, alhamdulillah, ayat number 14. Zuyina lil-nasi hubul shaharatin bin nas nasiya wal baninan wal qanairi meqataratin minna afahabi wal fadlhi wal qalil musawatin wal anama wal hafi fatalika متى هوى الدنيا والله عنده حسن المآب. Fair in the eyes of men is the love of things they covet. Women and sons heaped up hoards of gold and silver, horses branded for blood and excellence, and wealth of cattle, and well-tilled land. Such are the possessions of this world's life. But in nearness to Allah is the best of the goals to return to. Salah being sure that Allah speaks the truth. God speaks to us, humanity, in a very truthful and forthright manner about the things that we as human beings desire and covet the most. Fair in the eyes of men, and women also, are the things that we love and covet. And he goes on to enumerate them. And you know that we as men definitely desire these things that we just spoke about, alhamdulillah. Who doesn't want to be rich in this world's life? Nothing wrong with that per se. However, it cannot supersede one's willingness to serve the Creator, alhamdulillah. I'm not saying that rich people don't serve God, because I believe that they do. They are currently, and this is relevant to the khutbah this afternoon, I'm not straying from the spirit of the khutbah. Very important that you listen to what I'm saying. There are currently over this planet 2,473 billionaires. And we live in New Jersey, the third state in this nation with the highest concentration of multi-millionaires. But you wouldn't believe that when you ride through the streets of Elizabeth. Why? Because we see gross poverty. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. The Sultan of Brunei is a Muslim, worth $20 billion or more. And there are other Muslims all around this planet who are billionaires and multi-millionaires who I believe in their heart serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala highly glorified is He. We are witnessing in this 21st century the richest White House ever. In a 25 square mile radius of Washington, D.C., 34 billionaires exist. 25 square miles. The city of Newark, New Jersey is 26 square miles. There's no billionaires in Newark. There's no multi-millionaires in Newark. There perhaps not even millionaires in Newark. So poverty is absolutely not a part of Deen al-Islam. We're talking about the spiritual aspects of the reality of the life that we live here in America. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Allah highly praises, He says in Surah number 20, Al-Qasas, the narration, ayah number 77. وَاتَّقِي فِيمَا أَتَيْكَ اللَّهُ الدَّارَ الْآخِرَةَ ولا تنسى نصيبك من الدنيا والحساب كما حسن الله إليك ولا تبقي فسادا في الأرض إن الله لا يحب المفسدين. But seek with the wealth which Allah has bestowed on thee, the home of the hereafter. Nor forget thy portion in this world's life. But do thou good, as Allah has been good to thee. And seek not occasion for mischief in the land. For Allah loves not those who do mischief. Allah speaks the truth. It says, seek with the wealth that Allah has already bestowed on thee. So that means that we have a semblance of wealth already. Alhamdulillah. What is that old saying? It takes money to make money. Alhamdulillah. Now, wealth isn't all the time money. Let's not draw that conclusion in the khutbah thus far. One's wealth could be the apex of one's wealth. Well-being. If you don't have a lot of money, then what's most important to you and your family? Your well-being. That is the crux of wealth. Well-being, soundness of mind, soundness of heart, a spirit that submits to its Lord. That's your best well-being. But don't forget your dunya in this world's life. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. A few weeks ago we had Easter. We had Good Friday. But we know in Deen al-Islam, every Friday is good. This is a good day. Whether one has money or not. Allah touched your soul, sent it back to you, and you're here, so you know this is an excellent Friday. Allahu Akbar. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is reported to have said about the 5 merits of Friday. Number 1, Allah created Adam on Friday. He sent him to earth as his vicegerent, his deputy. Adam died on Friday. There's a blessed hour on Friday during which a person is granted by Allah anything lawful and good that he prays for or she prays for. Resurrection will take place on a Friday. That is why everything in the heavens and the earth, including God's most favorite angels, God has favorite angels. That's what the Prophet said in Islam. He has favorite angels. And the mountains and the rivers stand in awe of Friday. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So if there's a blessed hour on Friday, and you can pray for anything that you want of good, then pray for some dunya. Pray for some dunya. In the African American community, we don't have a lot of dunya. We have a lot of poverty. That's why crime is rampant. There's not enough dunya. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We have to do something about that. However, we're speaking about things that's fair in the eyes of men at this particular Jumu'ah. The love of things that we covet is to wish what? Enviously for something that somebody else has. I like that car. I sure like to have that car. Oh, he has a beautiful woman. I sure like to have that one. If you want a nice car, go buy one. You want to get one and marry one. The same thing that this individual will have, inshallah, you can get the same thing. All you have to do is work towards that golden objective. Hordes of heaped up gold and silver. As billionaires or multimillionaires, one's valuable assets are that which is exchangeable for another valuable. In other words, the elite, the powerful amongst our society, they don't deal with money all the time. They deal with things that is exchangeable and valuable. And because of that particular exchange, they continuously rule the great masses of the people. They don't walk around with credit cards, money in their pockets. No. Their word is their bond. Their accumulated wealth of a period of time is their bargaining chip. And the great masses of society, especially in America, we must learn how these things are done so that we can be a part of the success in America. See, to get into America, you have to understand the key. There's a code to get into society. We must understand what the code is. Once we accept what the code is, then perhaps poverty won't be the biggest existing thing in our neighborhoods. From Atlanta to the Pacific, from Canada to the Florida Keys. That will not be in our neighborhood. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. There was a fortress not too long ago. I don't know if it still exists today. And it was called Fort Knox. It was a staging storage point for all the gold allegedly in America and was used beyond the shores of America. They called it gold bullion, gold reserve. It backed up the once silver certificates that we had in our pocket. See, we don't have a silver certificate in our pocket no more. We have what is called a Federal Reserve note, which has no value whatsoever. You can give me all your notes, and I'll give you my notes. We can take them out in the yard and burn them. Don't do that. That's such a hyperbole. But burn them, why? Because there's no value behind the paper in our pockets. Why? Because they are not silver certificates. They are Federal Reserve notes. The federal government do not print these things. An independent organization called Federal Reserve, they print the notes and sell them to the American government. According to most economic masters who are real in their understanding of the economy, will tell you right now that there's nothing backing or sustaining the money in America. That's why it's so easy to have, quote unquote, inflation. That's why it's so easy to have that we don't look out another depression, because there's no value on the money in our pockets. Allah says, heaped up goals of silver, horses branded for blood and excellence. We have in America today what is called the International Kentucky Derby. Horse race. People come from all over the world, especially the Islamic world. They come to America to gamble. They use these horse races to move the money around. Huh? Allah speaks about the horses. I just gave you the ayat. Talk about horses branded. The best horse is what? A thoroughbred. Huh? The best blood in the long line of breeding. We have in America what is called the blue bloods. And these are TV programs about good guys and bad guys. But don't let the concept miss you by. Blue bloods was ruling England before England, the people left England to come to establish America. Who are the blue bloods? The noble people, the enlightened people, the people with knowledge, the people with understanding, the people with the wealth, the people who, when they speak, nations succumb. They are referred to in American society, the blue bloods. So this particular lineage controls. Now, this is Al-Islam I'm talking about, because we are a victim of it. American society is a victim of blue bloods. Who is that? The ruling elite. What did we just say earlier? In the 24-mile radius of Washington, D.C., you've got 34 billionaires. That has never happened before. What do you and I have in common with a billionaire? What do we have in common with a multi-millionaire? So consequently, when they begin to make moves in the society, it doesn't benefit the great masses of the people. Good example, the Affordable Health Care Act, quote-unquote Obamacare. What are they trying to do? Gut it. Gut it. And in the front of gutting that, what do they do? They eliminate 24 million people or more from not having adequate health care. So this is the concept of the billionaire who don't serve Allah, the Lord of all the worlds. Anything beneath him don't count. That's the negative aspect of power and wealth in America. Gutting Affordable Care Act. And each one of us in this room knows somebody who needs affordable care. If you don't know nobody, then you need affordable care. If you don't think so, get sick. Go to Children's General Hospital up here and see what they tell you. You got a credit card? You got insurance? You ain't got nothing? Roll. Hit the bricks. Nothing we can do for you. So this is the monopolized mindset of those in power who don't submit to the will of God. If they don't have a beneficent mercy within their souls, the great masses whom they sit over suffer. We suffer. This is the lineage of the ruling elite, the noble, the blue bloods. This Al-Quran that we just read from, is a divine revelation. I accept it, you accept it. Even those who shape and manipulate human society, they know it's divine. They just don't care. So you got people who care about God and those who don't care about God. We are the ones who care. That's why we ask for Jumuah. Over 1,400 years ago, this revelation, everything that was prophesied is manifest today. Everything. All you have to do is step back Sit back, look and think. And if you're a student of El Quran, then you say, wow, this is happening right now. You think a lot much for it. Because Allah will look out for his own. And we, the true believe the mu'minun, we consider ourselves to be a part of Allah's own. Alhamdulillah. There are horse farms in America for the breeding of fine horses. I'm staying in the Quran. I read an ayat about this. So I'm sticking to the spirit, the code of Deen al-Islam. They're for fine breeding. Huh? In the Arab world, they are the best horses. These thoroughbreds and that, they are the best horses. Why? Because they've had the best pedigree, the best of breeding, the best food, the best air, the best land, the best water, the best human caring for an animal. They got that. That's breeding within them. And if you walk on the road of some of these farms, Morris County, Bedminster, you see horse farms. You see horses out there. You see some horses stand to themselves, and they got a mane. You can see dignity in the horse. You can see it in them. And there are other horses, they travel in crowds. They're not like this one. This one has an exceptional breeding. Allah said that in Quran. Horses for fine breeding. He talks about that. That's what we're talking about. This horse is a what? An international multi-million dollar what? Business. You go to the local rodeo and get your kicks watching the horse, people jumping up and down. No. This is a multi-billion dollar industry. And only the elite, the powerful, the rich run that thing. It ain't for the poor. Alhamdulillah. God speaks of what? The wealth of cattle. Isn't that interesting? And what is one of the greatest items in the food industry today? Meat industry. Cattle is preeminent. The meat industry, again, is a multi-billion dollar business. Matter of fact, we are trying to get in on that business because we have established a halal certifying organization here in the North Metropolitan area. So we're trying to get a part of a multi-million dollar business. It's for all of us. You just got to reach out and grab your dunya. Allah to get your dunya. Don't pass through this world's life and don't come in contact with no dunya. And your next door neighbor is rich. The man up the street is rich. The man down the block is rich. And you sitting there consider yourself to be the poor righteous. There's something wrong. You know, we had that concept of the poor righteous when Imam Earl Siddiq Muhammad came to this community. So he had to change the debilitating concept of the poor righteous. He said, you become what? The striving poor. Why the striving poor? Because you're trying to get out of poverty. You're trying to get out of poverty. And we need to take this mindset to our people who are in the muck and the mud in America and don't see no way out. Because their mental concepts is distorted. I'm going to sit here and wait on the welfare check. I ain't going to do nothing. But now that has dried up. Now what? Now what? We have to infuse in their mind the concept of doing something what for self. All throughout our community. Our community is the minimum United Nations. You find every ethnicity in the United Nations in the black people's neighborhood taking their money out. Muslims are no exception. You're taking it out too. Japanese, Koreans, people from Europe, got businesses in our community taking out our money. And when we complain, don't worry about it. It's going to be all right. No. It's going to be all right when we stop it. And guess what? We're going to stop it. Alhamdulillah. We have a brother, Imam Earl Salam, who Unity Halal. He helped establish a Halal certification board. This is a means and methodology for us to get into this multi-billion dollar halal industry. I don't want to be a consumer all my life. Not a consumer. I want to be a producer. Why can't I be a producer? People I don't even know, don't even look like me, in my neighborhood producing, getting my money, and I can't be a producer. That means that what? I'm insane. I can't go in your neighborhood and establish them and take your money out. So guess what? We're going to stop them people coming in our neighborhoods and taking our money out. How do we do that? Set up a business. Imam Earl Siddiq Muhammad wrote a beautiful book, Islam's Climate for Business Success. Which means Islam sets up a climate for business success for anybody. Anybody. For success in business. Starting that business 101 and work your way up the corporate ladder. Matter of fact, establish and create a corporate ladder for yourself and kind. A whole industry that's spread around the world, so many different sciences, evolves out of that industry. It's more than just eating the meat. The skin, the bones, the hair, the teeth, all these play a major part in science that serves community life. They play a very important in service in community life. So it's more than just eating the meat. Eating the meat is the last thing that you're supposed to do. Eat the meat. You got to find out what stems from that cattle that I don't see. Where do you think these beautiful, expensive handbags come from? Huh? They come from the skin of cows. A lot of that hair that they use, people wear fake hair. All these fake accoutrements that the human being has, they come from a source in nature. Most of it comes from meat. So it's more than just lamb chops and baked chops. Huh? It's more than that. It's an industry, an economic order that we, as Muslims, especially in the African American Muslims, we need to tap into. See, when I plug in and make my salat and make my prayer, huh, I'm supposed to get up and do something for myself. What does Allah say in Surah Al-Jumuah? And when the Jumu'ah is over, go ye forth to seek the bounties of your Lord. The bounties. What is your bounty? What you decided is. I just spoke about billionaires. That's their bounty. What's your bounty? Is it $10,000? $100,000? A car? A yacht? Then alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. That's your bounty. Allah will bless you to get that. But what about the community? Once you take care of you and your family, what about our community? How do they fare? Huh? They ain't faring too good. And Deen al-Islam is the mechanism that's going to put us in a position to make our community do what other intelligent communities are doing all over the world, and especially here in America, and specifically in Elizabeth, New Jersey. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. In Brazil, a couple of months ago, Brazil sent meat all over the world. That's one of their big commodities, meat. So what they were doing, the inspectors, and I'm a halal inspector, and I go to businesses and see whether or not they cool. If they don't, report them to the state. If you got a halal business in my neighborhood, you a Muslim, then that means you're supposed to be serving nothing but halal. Now, you can serve halal and non-halal products. But if a Muslim would allow, you got to specify it, my brother, my sister. This is halal. This is not. Now, there may not be pork. Don't have to be, because I don't believe, well, we've had a problem with that in the past. I don't believe you're going to sell no pork. But it's just not halal. But it's for consumption. So the inspectors was playing games. They was inspecting meat that was tainted and foul and sending it all over the world. So once the world got wind of it, the nations who bought the meat, it reverberated. And what did they do? They backed up, they stopped. They wouldn't buy no meat from Brazil. The economy in Brazil is predicated on the meats. So what happened? The economy begins to suffer. Huh? They begin to suffer. So the leadership said, wait a minute, stop that. Why? Because you're not only hurting them, you're hurting your whole country. You're hurting your whole country. I'm sort of an activist here. Okay, good. You're hurting your whole country because the meat was tainted. Political leadership in Brazil had a nerve to tell the people they should eat every other day. Now here's a politician probably eating 3 and 4 times a day, the best food that the country had to offer. But he's telling the great masses, the poor people, y'all should eat every other day. Don't we see that in America right now? America blames the victim for the crime. It started with your president, Donald J. Trump, blaming victims for the crime. Now he's in Saudi, Riyadh, all through Arabia, got all heads of state leaders coming out to kiss the ring. I pray Allah nothing happens to him in that part of the world. Because if anything does, we're going to suffer in America. So we pray Allah protect Mr. Donald J. Trump. Bring him back home safely. And when you bring him back, inshallah, perhaps you touch his spirit, touch his mind, touch his soul, and he changed his mentality for America, not only for Muslims, but for immigrants, for African Americans, for people, for the whole spectrum of human beings in this great nation. Make him change, my Lord. Make him change. Because if he keeps going down that road, we're going to have war in this country. The nation is already divided. A little spark can set off a civil war. And the most vulnerable in our society will be the ones who suffer the most. We allow that, not let that happen. Alhamdulillah. These are possessions of this world's life. Well-tilled lands from the Atlantic coast to the Pacific coast, from Canada to the Florida Keys. If you fly on the plane over America when it goes kind of low, you see some of the beautiful land the world has to offer. Like Allah said, well-tilled lands, producing some of the best food that the human being can conceive. You know, America imports over 300 million tons of food from around the world every year. And do you know that less than 2% of that food gets inspected? Less than 2%? So technically, we don't know what we eat. And when it comes to halal, that Allah has ordained from Quran, you know how they get no inspection. That's why we have a halal certification inspection board. We sort of like a blip on the radar screen. But we can't allow that to happen. So if the great masses don't know what they eat, what do we eat? Because it says halal. Anybody check it out? America is a land of money. A lot of principles don't go work well in this society. And I know because I'm born and raised in it, and I know what it does. To get that money, they kill their parents, their grandparents, to get their insurance checks. So we know what goes on in America. And if you've been there any amount of time, you know too. As a group, specifically African Americans, we have little of this land in this country. During the time of the desert Arabs, they didn't have to worry about land. Land wasn't their problem. The biggest problem would be warring tribes or what? Water. That would be the biggest problem. However, we as a people in America, we need both. We need water, we need good land, we need industry. And all this comes what? From out of the land, out of the outdoing, out of the earth, out of the terra firma. See, it's more than just walking on it. Much more than just walking on the land. Life comes up out of that ground. And for the most part, I'm speaking in terms of specific African American people, we haven't tuned into it like we did hundreds of years ago. From the slave and cotton fields, we knew what the land produced. But when we got psyched out to these big urban areas, we forgot the foundation of all life, which is what? Earth, land, terra firma, our doom. The only part we get down is when we die, and they bury us in it. That ain't good enough for the mu'minun. That ain't good enough for us. Allah says, get your share of the dunya in this world's life. Don't worry about the other side. That's taken care of. Now, some of y'all may not be receiving this message. It's okay. But I know who needs to receive this message. We need to do more in our productive life than what we have done for the past maybe 50, 75, or 100 years. We have to do more. God says, fair in the eyes of men are well-tilled lands. It is through our land that we build our future. You can't build your future in the sky. Who builds a future in the sky? You can study the elements of the sky. You can study what the sky does. But you can't build nothing in the sky. It got to be on the planet. Got to be on the planet. We want more than a plot of land to go in when I make my transition. And inshallah, we're going to get more. The late leader of this wonderful community, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, said, do something for yourself and get some of this land that you can call your own. That has not changed. That will never change. We're in I'm out of the North New Jersey Masjid Al I'm Imam Earl Siddiq. And we finally began to realize that we will be breaking ground, perhaps this summer, inshallah, on a brand new masjid on the corner of Hawthorne Avenue in Berkeley Street. Brand new from the ground up. That's our land. We're building a masjid on our land. But that's just a masjid. I can't sleep in there. I can't eat in there. I can't raise my family in there. That's done outside of a masjid. We organize a community in there, but we don't live in there. That's somewhere else. So we need more land to cultivate community life. I do not believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to build any new land anytime soon. At least perhaps not in our generation. So we have to get the land that we already have and be productive with it. It's there for the taking. It's there for the taking. And we're going to take it. Look at the struggle in the Middle East. All these Islamic lands. People being displaced out of there, they'll probably never go back. In Syria, over 400,000 lives in the past 7 years. It's perhaps more than just 400,000. But if we say any more, people might just throw their hands and drop on their knees and say, oh, what's going on? So let's say 400,000. Dead. Let's not talk about those who are displaced. Those who are dead. Why? Because it's a land grab. Politics, oil. But if you got the land, you got everything. Why are these major Western powers in there want that strategic land mass? Because they know once they lock that in, they rule. They rule. The European people have always understood the value of land. Once they came out of the confines of Europe, they circled this 25,000 circumference of the planet Earth. They circled that, and they took everything they came in contact with. They took it. They took it. If you don't think so, check with the Indian. But not only that, check with me. They took my forefathers from Africa and brought me in. So this power, this grab, this elitist mind to rule, if you got the power and the strength, you take it. You may sit down like a little bargain and negotiate here and there. Basically, if it don't go your way, you send the military force in. Hey, we're going to conscript this. And that's been the history of this quote-unquote great land called the United, or I would say now, the United States of America. That ain't changed. Fair in the eyes of men is that Allah has glorified, He has prophesied, and surely Allah speaks the truth. Alhamdulillah. Let's go back to the first part of the scripture. Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Part two of this Salatul Jummah. This Quran is known by many different attributes. At-Tanzil, the revelation. Al-Adil, the justice. Al-Muhaymin, the preserver. Al-Majid, the exalted. Al-Kalam, the word. And Al-Mu'izah, the sermon. These are the attributes of our, actually the world's Quran. It's really the world's Quran. It's a divine revelation for everybody. I know some people like to monopolize it, but that ain't why it was given. It's for everybody. The state of New Jersey has 21 counties. This is Union. I live in Morris. There's Essex, where my masjid is. Essex used to be the highest population in the county, in the state. But now, Bourbon County has that distinction. Essex has dropped off a couple of thousand people, but it's slowly picking up. Hudson County is picking up. Allahu Akbar. April the 2nd of this year, 2017, the Star Ledger ran a copy about the health of each of the 21 counties. And of course, the suburban counties fared much better than the urban, although some suburban counties are falling off the list into a chasm. And I think that's coming from the opiates of drugs. And there was a time in the African-American minority community when drugs was rampant. I mean, big time in the 50s. It wasn't so much in the Caucasian neighborhoods, but it was in our neighborhood. But look what has happened over a period of time. Look what's happened over a period of time. Opioids have taken over the dominant society. So much so that the governor had to chair a special commission to deal with drugs. Now, let me give them a hint here. You need to find out why your people want to use drugs. That's the solution. Because you're not going to stop them with all these organizations. It's not going to happen. You need to find out what's in their subconscious mind that motivates them to want to get high. Huh? expend all the family's wealth that it took them years to build up. You're going to shoot it up. You're going to snort it up in a period of a couple of years. Why? What makes your son and daughter become addicts? They weren't that before. But what do they see in this world that's happening that has turned them off? We had it big time in a minority neighborhood in the 50s and the 60s. And crack came in the 80s. But by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have slowly overcome a lot of that. Not entirely. I didn't get my hopes up. It's not entirely. But we have worked. We have worked our way out of that garbage can. But now, the ruling structure, their children coming out of Harvard and Yale and Princeton and Rutgers and Seton Hall supposed to be ruling the society, they fall victim to opiates. Not all. Not all. But if you can bet that if the governor has to come before the country and talk about that, it's out of hand. My word to you, Mr. Christie, you need to find out why they want to use these opiates. So you're not asking the right questions. Oh, Johnny, he's hooked on drugs. Mary, I couldn't believe that she's hooked on drugs. Why? You're not asking the right questions. Once you probe the right, like a psychiatrist, once you get the right questions and get the right answers, now you're on the path of cleaning up your sons and daughters. The day is May 19th. One of the greatest African-American human rights liberators since we've been here since slavery for 400 years was born as El Hajj Malik Shabazz, better known as Minister Malcolm X. He was the poster child for the reformation of drugs when he was with the Nation of Islam. He was a ruthless drug addict. But when he accepted even the skewed teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, it took that needle out his arm, that coke out of his nose. Huh? And he became a poster child for reformation in America. America needs a poster child. They need a reformer to get them out of the drug epidemic. Just saying no and giving over, that's not going to solve their problem. They need a poster child. Allah bless us with one. Alhamdulillah. Yes, indeed. This April the 2nd, they talked about everything in these 21 counties from wealth to poverty and all in between. Things don't look good in urban areas. Now, that's not because of Mr. Donald Trump. Our beloved brother, Barack Hussein Obama, we gave him 8 years, we gave him a pass. Our communities did not rise that much in 8 years because of the black president. Didn't do it. Didn't do it at all. And I know what I'm talking about. And if you look at it and think about it, you should know it too. But here's the point here. What Barack Hussein Obama did, you have a nation of children from 3 to 15 who was raised up for 8 years with a black man in the Oval Office. So the great good that's going to come from his being there is going to be maybe 25 or 30 years down the road. It ain't going to happen now. But that's life. It never happens like that. It happens when you're gone. That's when things begin to motivate. So I'm not saying he was a negative thing with us, but looking down the road, the great thing that he did will come down the road later with these children. African American, Muslims, Mexicans, immigrants, Japanese, Koreans, you name it, who was in America, they grew up with Barack Hussein Obama. And they grew up with his principles, some of the good that he did. And they're going to shape this government. Many of us won't even be here. But your children, they're going to shape this government. Because they're going to say, wow, remember Barack Obama when he did that? Everybody got a benefit from that. That's the benefit that America's going to get when most of us won't even be here. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. A week later, April the 7th, in the South Ledger, same article, same paper, it reported that 2 in 5 Americans have what is called HPV, according to the Center for Disease Control, the human papilloma virus. And there are 37 different strains, and each one can cause cancer. This is a pandemic of sex in America, not restricted to urban areas, brothers and sisters, but throughout the country. Every ethnicity, religion, culture, whatever if you're in America, and you out there doing what you ain't supposed to be doing, you subject to get yourself in a big, big way in a problem. And it's mostly, you know, the youth. Mostly the youth. The National Health and Nutrition Organization said that 45.2% of men, 39.9% of women have genital HPV. That's a pandemic. in the masjid, the churches, the synagogues, the barbershop, the beauty parlors, the laundromat. We need to be talking about this here. You ain't got to, all eyes don't need to be on Tupac Shakur. All eyes don't have to be on Donald Trump. All eyes have to be on our miserable situation in America. That's where the eyes need to be. We got a problem that's going to affect all of us. And it's already doing. I work in the city of Newark, part-time for the mayor's job development prison reentry program. I was going to work a couple of weeks ago, and I was sitting in my car listening to the radio. There's a lot of charter schools being built up in Newark right now. And it's all mixed. There's some Muslims in there. Haitians, Africans, immigrants, you name it. And I'm sitting there listening to the radio. So around the corner, I see this little Hispanic girl, pretty little girl. There's a little African-American around the corner. I'm saying, I know this ain't going to be no good. They start hugging and kissing. I mean, like they was doing the script for a movie. Now, I can understand why we got the HPV virus. You got youth out there doing things they ain't got no business doing. And the thing about these particular diseases is that they don't know they got it. See, there are some diseases that you have, you don't even know you got it. But let's say a man is out there supposed to be doing the right thing, and he's doing something on the side he ain't got no business doing. And he finds out he got an issue. Now, he has a wife, he has children, now he done threw his whole family away. For what? Our youth are worse than that. There's a sexual pandemic in America, and every right-minded, civilized individual, I don't care what ethnicity or race or religion you belong to, you have a responsibility, to see what you can do to stem that negative tide. Because it's going to engulf 45%, that's half the country. That's half the country. And these people are in businesses, they're in food, they're in all kinds of things that affect our daily life. So we have a terrible issue here that has to be resolved. A culture has evolved out of this. The things that seems fair in our eyes, that's why Muslims are supposed to do what? Lower their gaze. I can understand that ayat more than ever before. The more I research, the more I can understand why. Thing that is fair in our eyes, has brought about something that's not healthy in the society. So we as men, as protectors, we have an objective to what? Work to stem that negative tide. All eyes need to be on our terrible situation. There has to be a heal. Our master is Masjid Al Hadi Jumuah, which means the healing. There has to be a healing of the soul, the spirit, the culture, the economic, the minds, and the hearts of every man and woman in this society. Because we live in a very insane environment. This environment is insane. Look what happened in New York yesterday. That wasn't so much a terrorist attack, but here's a man that had demons in his mind, telling him to go out there and kill. Look at the havoc that he brought. So whenever you and I are in the street, in the public life, we have to be what? Very careful. You got your wife out there, you got your children out there, your in-laws, your loved ones. Be careful. Pay attention to everything around you, because your and their lives may depend on it. We may not have a cure for everything. Muslims ain't got a cure for everything. But we do have cures. It's our responsibility to go forth in the society and use that cure. Islam, I believe is a cure. Why? Because I know where African American people came from before they accepted Deen al-Islam. And they didn't go back to the Nation of Islam and no. A man named Noble Drew Ali, over 100 years ago, brought a concept that was skewed, of course. It wasn't pure Deen al-Islam. But he dropped the name. He dropped the language in the African American community. And it took roots. And because of that, I'm standing here. How do you think we got here? Nobody did it for us. Allah did this for us. Allah the Almighty. And this universal message. They did this for us. So we know that if they did it for me, I can do it for the man behind me. And the woman behind me. And that's what we got to do. Beloved brothers and sisters, it's an honor to come before you in a astute body of Muslims. Just to say Allah's Akbar and Muhammad Islam is a slave should seal the message of Prophet God. Can't get no better than that. It don't get no better than this. And it's going to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow and be what it's supposed to be. Because it ain't what it's supposed to be right now. When you got Muslims killing each other wholesale, and Muslims don't even know why they're being killed. When Muslims are leaving Islamic lands and going to Europe, they ain't going to other Muslim lands. Don't that make you think? They ain't going to another Muslim land. They're going to Europe. And what did Europe say? We tired of them. We don't want them no more. Now where do they go? Where do they go now? That means those of you here who live in another land, you got to go, you got the knowledge, you got to go back to your land and straighten that mess out. Because the world don't want us no more. They don't want your people no more. They say we can't take care of them no more. So where do they go? They can't live in the water. But they came from land. You got to go back to land. And you, with your understanding, your expertise, and your knowledge, and your dedication to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and your fearlessness, you got to help them rebuild their nation. That's your responsibility. May Allah bless you all. Assalamu alaikum.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, Hayya ala salah, Hayya ala falah, Aqamtu salah, Aqamtu salah, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah.